get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Hello and welcome everybody to day number 4 of PUBG Mobile Pro Scrims South Asia. This is going to be season 2, of course, thanks to Northern Gaming for making it all happen. And once again, when it comes to the games, they have been on a roller coaster ride. Joining us along here is going to be none other than Necro once again to take us through these games. And dude, how are you doing today?
Well, I'm doing absolutely fine. I mean, first of all, I got to ask you, how are you doing?
So, because after all, I was a COVID patient, last month.
Yeah.
And of course, getting over that is one of those deals that you've got to go through, which is absolutely fine, working perfectly for me, touch wood. Along with which, of course, I certainly hope that our viewers are doing well as well. Of course, those of you who are sitting here watching the stream, do not forget to sanitize and stay clean. With that, talking about the day, mate, I mean, Necro. So till now, day number 4 is what we're going to be jumping into. But till now, the journey from these teams has been Herculean. It almost has been a Herculean task for the ones who were at the latter page of the storyboard, right? But eventually, yesterday we saw a little bit of turn of events, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We did see, those bottom of the leaderboards coming out on top in those end games kind of, and we were literally discussing about the same thing, these bottom of the leaderboard teams, just coming out on top out of nowhere, and they actually did come out on top. And such kind of things, does kind of excite me, and I'm pretty sure all the viewers as well, because unexpected things always, whenever they happen, you're just like, oh wait, they just shook you.
Absolutely, dude. That is so very true. Because again, I mean, we were talking about the games that did happen yesterday, and of course, Vibe is one of those teams that has been on point throughout. No question about that.
Yeah.
But alongside that, when you talk about the entirety of the saga, what are these lads working towards? You've got the massive prize pool of $2,000, and the first position holder on the overall standing is going to be walking away with $1,000 in the bag.
Exactly, $1,000, the money. The main thing in the scrims, I mean, of course, they are playing for the money. Let's be honest. There's nothing to prove in the scrims. The only thing you won that first place is for that money, is for that prize pool. If you're going to be getting those $1,000 in your backpack, we all do know, it's more kind of like, you know, just kind of like you're saving for the players. You guys can utilize in whatever you do. But now let's talk about what exactly happened in the previous games. It was more kind of like the exciting strategies coming out on top. And we did see, you know, teams like Team QWERTY as well kind of stepping it up in the final game. But somewhere down the line, they kind of screwed it up, you know, in the end moment.
True, mate. I mean, overall, things did go a bit disarray when it comes down to Team QWERTY, and that is especially going to be focused based on the points they were able to collect, right? So right here, of course, we do have the point structure where one kill does reward you with that 1 point. Every single kill will give you that 1 point, along with which, of course, when you come down to the positions itself, you do not want to be placing down to the 13th or the 16th place of the entire lobby, because that will give you no placement points whatsoever. Now, taking the conversation back towards QWERTY itself, yesterday we did have all the 3 games on Sandhawk, but alongside that, when you talk about second game, it was QWERTY that was looking really good. Even though they only had 1 kill, they were on the second position. So placement points certainly did factor in for them and were perfect. But that's not all it takes. You've got to be able to combine your placement points along with the kills to get the best position on that overall.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Just 1 kill point. I mean, that's not going to be adding a lot much more. Second place means 12 points in your hand. And just that 1 kill point, that means you're only racking up with 13 points in overall. And if you take a look at all the other teams, including Vibes as well, they racked up quite a lot of kills and quite a lot of points as well for themselves. Even though they were not really looking good in the placement, they still overpassed, they still surpassed Team QWERTY. So these kind of things they need to keep in mind. It's not just playing safe, but at the same time playing safe and getting those kills in your hand, being as safe as possible, making sure you're not making any flaws in your plays, and of course flawless performances are always appreciated.
Most certainly, dude, because that is what is going to be crucial when it comes down to these games. With that, when it comes down to day number 4 of these scrims today in Season 2, we are going to be looking at Erangel back to back, which is going to be really good, which is going to be just perfect for so many of these teams, because they're going back to their roots. They're going back to their roots against the same opponents that they've been playing for 2 weeks at least minimum, right? And so that does bring in the conversation that how comfortable have they gotten in the lobby itself?
Exactly, how comfortable, as you did mention. I mean, it's more kind of like the positioning as well. If you're having a good positioning, automatically the comfort level increases as well. These are the overall ranking. Deadeyes Guys on the top with 94 points on their name. Vibes then on the second one. I mean, Deadeyes Guys, man, this team is just so consistent. I mean, they are here to prove something. They are here to prove something, especially I want to see this team play in the regional finals as well. Because, I mean, I had a talk with the guy, Hungrybox, you know. This man is filled with passion, and he wants to prove something to the world. And I'm pretty sure Hungrybox, in the end of the day, will maybe, you know, make something happen as well. So Deadeyes Guys, of course, a team with full of passionate players, including all these teams. I mean, of course, don't get me wrong. We have Team QWERTY as well, one of the best players in the Pakistan region. Team TUF, I mean, a team that came out of nowhere and started dominating the entire scrims.
Along with which, I do want to point out A1 Esports as well, lad, because again, that team is on the first page of the overall standing as of now, which is looking ferocious for themselves, no question about it. Along with which, of course, INES, HIGHVOLTAGE, Futurestation are going to be other names, PN Crew as well as Skylightz Gaming are going to be other names that we should probably mention as well, because once again, when it comes down to the consistency, it is an interesting affair that's going on alongside these scrims. At week number 1, we saw Mongolian teams were not a part of it, and that is where Stalwart was definitely making a real destructive force of themselves. So was T2K. But move that conversation on towards week 2, things have turned along, and now in towards the game that we're going to be jumping into, it is a completely different affair where we do see, you know, Stalwart all the way down to the final page of the leaderboard. Train to Kill all the way down. 7 Seas, once again, a team that was looking real good with those dominating streaks that they were having. Going against them for some odd reason is just not the kind of play that we want to be able to see. But eventually, before we jump in with day number 4, one conversation I do want to have is going to be regarding Seal Esports. Now, we did see them yesterday. They were a 3-man army in the final game. Before that, also, when it comes down to their approach to the game, they were a little hunkered down, but eventually, bring it down to the final circle, they ended up getting themselves on the 2nd position and so on. So, what do you think when it comes to Seal Esports? What is their strategy, dude? I mean, play humble, play nimble, and then just blast out?
I don't know. Seal is always half been a mystery, you know? It's like, I feel like Seal is probably one of the most unpredictable team in the entire, like, even in the PMPL as well, and even inside the scrims. It's like, I don't know what exactly Seal wants to do any of the time. Sometimes they go aggressive. Sometimes they just play so passive till the end and still then come out on top. But again, I really, like, sometimes I just feel like, do Seal even plan anything out, or they just play randomly? Because sometimes my brain just doesn't work. Whenever I try to figure out this team, okay, let's just analyze how they play. I try to watch Seal, and most of the times what they do is try and go inside the circle and just hold it off. If the circle shifts away, again, go inside the circle, make your way. If they get caught off guard in the rotation, then it's done.
So true. So very true indeed. That's been their gameplay thus far. But hopefully, as we move on along from this day on in towards the final moments of course, these scrims, it is going to be those. Well, again, they've only got those 3 games today, and those 3 games better be woken in whatever team will be put on the spot, you know, because after all, these are the games, every single game rather, you need to be able to get your, even if you're not working towards the money, even if you're not working towards being the best of the best, you need to be getting that synergy on point every single game that you're a part of. You're a professional team. And talking about that synergy is where things go a little bit south. So let's take the conversation back towards Team QWERTY itself, right? We did see Venom Legends in that final circle that we spoke about. There was Team QWERTY in there looking real confident as well. But the way it was approached, I mean, Team QWERTY, the conversation was just not on point with that. Hopefully today is going to be a different day. Let's move in with the game, and the flight path is on our screens. Necro.
Exactly. The flight path starting from Stalwart, ending all the way towards the Snovka military base. I mean, pretty much a standard one, but I just want to see where the circle pans out, because most of the times when I see such kind of plain flight path, mostly it's kind of a military-based circle, or pretty much a southern circle. So I want to see how the circle is going to be panning out today. And of course, that's going to be exciting me more if the circle is going to be on the southern side. One thing we definitely know, no matter what, TDK likes to go towards Milta area. Yesterday, it wasn't really TDK's day, but maybe today they have something to prove here. They have something to do here, because they do know these are the semifinals. I mean, TDK pretty much, they are on the top, and we do know they have it in them. So it's not going to be tough, at least for TDK, to get those victories in their hands. But again, you need to, you know, if you're a team like TDK, you need to be on the top of the leaderboards, at least on the like top 3, to keep your reputation going there.
So true, mate. That's going to be crucial for a team like T2K or INES for that matter, because both the teams are at the bottom of that leaderboard. When you talk about T2K, you know, they're also on the somewhere around 18 to 20th mark when it comes down to the positioning of them overall, which is something that I'm sure they would want to change. But talking about the circle, you were almost there, mate. We're moving down towards Shelter Mansion being the center of the zone. Milta Power is, of course, going to be part of it. No Reply for the moment is certainly going to be a part of the circle as well, but Stalwart Flex and Stalwart Nevermind is now a team that is going to be run by I8. So never mind the name, the game is still the same. And talking about the game, we do know for a fact Stalwart Flex, and now I8 is a team that loves their military zone, and that's exactly where they've dropped.
Exactly. Unless Zeus is there, then maybe they can counter them.
Ooh. That is so true.
Flashbacks.
Yep, that is an own point once again, dude.
Oh man, those were some good days, you know, back in the day in PMPO. We were having a lot of fun as well. And there was some like, you know, some drama going down between the players of Zeus and Stalwart as well, and things happened, and then Zeus dropped in the drop spot of Stalwart and wiped the entire squad of Stalwart Flex down. And those are some memorable and iconic moments without a doubt. But vibes we have got over here, Jiggle the IGL, the man. And I really feel like in a team of vibes, Jiggle needs to calm down his pace a little bit, because if he goes down first, I mean, Jiggle is a fantastic player, without any doubt. He's one of the best players in the Nepal region. But still, you being the IGL, I feel like you should be calming your gameplay down, because you staying alive till the end is probably the most important thing. Your IGL should always be in the game to point direction at the strategies.
That is so true, lad. I mean, again, you did talk about this yesterday as well, right? When it comes down to Jiggle and his approach, we do see him overextending himself and jiggling around when it comes to the aggression. And that is something that maybe he should tone down just a little bit. But alongside this, we do have a look at TRZ, where indeed this team is now jumping into the arena and now finally getting themselves a decent amount of loot. And right off the bat, it is looking pretty comfortable for them, because there is no team around them, but the only conversation is going to be that they are 2,500 meters away from the circle.
Oh, look at this. Look at this. Kind of Wally kind of, you know, just teasing him out there, driving the buggy right next to him. They're trying to fire some shots, but Wally's buggy's just like an F1 car. Too fast, not going to be able to catch that easily. So Wally just makes it out alive from that situation for now. But again, as we were talking about, you know, I8's, you know, situations and stuff like that. I mean, I8's, again, one thing right now is really confusing me is that they have changed their usernames. And for example, Funny Boy now is Reviews. And things like this, you know, sometimes when there's a fight going on, you don't really know, you know, who the exact player is, because they have changed their usernames in the game. And this kind of confuses me, you know, even though I know each and every single username who this man is, but still, you know, when there's like a crucial moment going down, you don't really know, you know, what name is whose and stuff like that. For now, it seems like Skylightz Gaming taking quite a passive approach in the fight. We still have ASL kind of ducking down in the house, playing it out as safe as possible. Blood Legion kind of scouting out the area as well off the apartments. Maybe there is someone in the school's area. It's just kind of separated out. It's a 2-on-2 separation coming out from the squad of Blood Legion here. Playing it out real passive and real slow. Must be feeling good for themselves. I mean, Blood Legion for now are pretty much on the bottom of the leaderboards. But also take this fact into consideration that these are just scrims. You don't have anything to prove here. Even if you win the scrims, it's pretty much for the prize pool. It's pretty much for the money. If you don't win the scrims, it's fine. These are just scrims. You don't really have anything to prove. These scrims are made for you guys to learn. Learn new strategies, make some new strategies out, try your chances against the best of the bests. But already we see Seal kind of inserting their dominance inside the game and getting the first blood on their hands. I mean, it's pretty much good start coming out from the side of Seal, and we do like to see such kind of starts from their behalf as well. For example, take a look at Skylightz Gaming. Skylightz Gaming is definitely a team which is probably one of the best in Nepal region without a doubt. I mean, yesterday wasn't really their day. Maybe today they have, you know, they have the caliber. Today maybe they will be able to, you know, at least get a chicken dinner in their hands.
Absolutely, dude. Because again, I mean, we did see that perfect first blood coming in at the side of course, TRZ Esports. But alongside which, of course, when it comes down to the gameplay itself, right, we have seen TRZ Esports jump into action, no questions asked, always. When they are in a good location or not, it does not matter. But every single game, they have a different approach, and that is a ballistic approach that they bring to the table, because again, their opponents, you know, the IGLs of the other teams, they're always going to be questioning, wait, TRZ Esports, you just don't know. And that is something that you pointed out as well, Necro, that TRZ Esports, the approach that they bring to the game is always going to be diversified, and that is where this team stands out so beautifully. Now, talking about the circle itself, we still do see I8 sticking themselves down towards the military base, which is going to be absolutely fair and square. But TRZ, a team that is down towards Primorsk, we did talk about them. They were 2,500 meters away from the center of the circle, and this team needs to rush. They need to push on along, get them vehicles, and get out of that destructive zone, because slowly and steadily, as they get the game started off, it is going to be a little troublesome if they just end up, you know, running for the circle again and again and again.
Exactly, but look who we have over here. Rahman, the man, the myth, the legend, finally back with Team QWERTY. As more kind of like he's there, okay, just to increase the comfort level of Team QWERTY there. whenever they have Rahman playing for Team QWERTY, it's more kind of like their confidence level just gets boosted up, and then Team QWERTY just starts performing real good. Maybe that happens this time as well. But TUF seems like they have locked their horns against the players of Deadeyes. But no, it's going to be the answer because they just stopped near the compound for that buggy, and they got their thing done. So now they're probably going to be making a leave as well, kind of going towards the Yasnaya open fields, which is a good prediction, to be honest, because when circles like these do happen, there's a massive chance that it does take a drastic shift towards Yasnaya.
It certainly does, mate. And right here, once again, I do want to bring the conversation down towards the team of TRZ that is sticking themselves to the Primorsk region for the moment. What are they waiting for? Never mind. I mean, again, we are looking at the first circle itself, I believe, and the second circle being very, very close, actually. But eventually, when it comes down to the zone, when it comes down to the circles themselves, we do see I8 getting away from the military base, trying to get themselves into the zone. That's going to be really good. CL Esports is also making that rotation for themselves. So many teams, actually. But talking about the teams that are in the zone, that are in the circle, we do have A1 Esports pretty much smack in the center of the zone as of now. Alongside them is going to be Team QWERTY. And once again, as the circle shifts, we do have Team QWERTY as well as A1 once again in the zone. That is going to be looking real good. That's going to be looking real comfortable. But eventually, when we talk about the way the game is progressing along, this is going to be a little bit of an interesting affair where Team TRZ are making such a late rotation that it could very well backfire. Again, the conversation that I was wanting to have earlier, that when it comes to the team of TRZ and their rotation, well, they are so far out in the open. They are just going to be gunning and running for the circle every single time the zone shifts.
Exactly. They are just running and gunning. I mean, it's like whenever the zone takes a drastic shift, right? And it's kind of away from any of the teams that are probably in the center of the circle or at least playing the edge. Now, mostly in the center of the circle that are in the center, the teams that are in the center of the circle, they don't really have a massive problem. Even if the circle takes a drastic shift, they don't really have to move a long way. It's just quite next to them, so they can just, you know, even go there by, you know, just walking. There's no problem. But the teams that are playing on the edges, the teams that are holding the edges, they have the real problem here. If the circle moves away all the way aside from them, they cannot instantly go for the rotation because the entire zone is kind of filled with enemies, and you never know when you're going to be encountering them. So you have to wait it out, you know, let the enemies know, or just wait out for their position when they're making any kind of sounds, then try to scout out the areas as well where you're going to be finding the safe route to rotate. This is like a longer process, and it takes like a lot of time. Until then, the next zone already starts moving, and this is where they need to hurry up. They need to directly go inside the circle. This is where they get their vehicles, start directly ramming in the zone, and no matter what happens, sometimes they do get caught off guard in those rotations. And, you know, you don't really have a lot of choice. It's either do or die situation.
Absolutely, mate. But with that, when you talk about this game, this has turned into a slow, low-key start for day number 4. We are looking at 56 players alive, 15 teams is what we've got in the lobby, rather. And when it comes to the approach that so many of these teams have had, they are just slowly and steadily moving in towards the zone. And when it comes to the kills, yes, there have been kills left, right, and center, but eventually it is a slow-paced game for the moment. But as these teams rush in towards the zone, towards the circle, is where so many of them are going to be part of those third parties. And right here we are looking at PN Crew. Season is the man of the hour for the moment, as he's gotten himself on top of that hill, or rather the compound that he's a part of, and that is going to be working deliciously for him because he's trying to get the information. But sadly, his entire compound is covered with trees, so he has no information, nor do the other teams. But move that conversation towards INES. Now this team also needs to step up their game. They have found themselves a decent turnover wins when it comes to the zone, when it comes to the compound, when it comes to being in the center pretty much. But there is PN Crew right next to them.
Yep, PN Crew, always the kind of dangerous team. You don't want to be around them, you know, unless you love your life sometimes. But, I mean, PN Crew has some incredible fraggers on their side. We have seen in the past. But this time it seems like QWERTY, unfortunate turn of events for that, man. And did get taken down instantly. TUF kind of on that aggressive pace, ramming their vehicle right onto their compound. Edgar seems unstoppable pretty much. Almost takes down Legend though, but Legend is just way too quick on his feet. TUF gets the instant rotation on and gets Legion down as well. Those kind of trades are pretty important there. ESP waiting the situation out, providing the cover until the res is happening. But those nades are just too much damaging, confirming the kill. At the same time, Sandesh is making the move towards his teammate. Take a look at how these guys are using their utilities as well. Pre-cooking that utility, and this is where Avenger goes down as well. And this is just an incredible turn of events on the side of PA Crew. These utility usage was on point. The way he cooked them, like just the timing on the utilities was perfect.
Absolutely perfect indeed. I mean, PN Crew certainly did have a little bit of a tricky situation that they dealt with, but eventually they were the ones who came up on top. They had the compound working for them, but eventually, when it comes down to the gameplay as well, it was beautifully played. When it comes down to the rush that was made from the lads of TUF, it was a bit ill-prepared. There were not a lot of utilities being utilized, and that is something that I do not like to see when it comes down to these sort of fights. When you're going against a team that is already, in charge of a compound, that is something you really should be utilizing, and that's the utilities that I'm talking about. But never mind that. Move the conversation on towards the teams that are still surviving. We are talking about Sealy Sports and Vibe right here, where Sealy Sports Wally has been the one to take the reins of Malik from Vibe, and eventually it seems like Sealy Sports is not looking good, as they've just lost one of their lads. Another one not looking too good when it comes down to the health that he's got, but Ankle, he is the one man to the rescue for this team.
One man left. Wives also do have a casualty on their name. Manisha has been taken down early off this time. Well, Seal kind of on an uncomfortable spot. Seal as well having a casualty on their name. They're kind of being pressured from the hillside by Skylightz Gaming. They're kind of third-partying this entire event. Vibes, though, seems like Jiggle is kind of stuck between the rocks. Oh, barely makes it out. Squeezes himself out those kind of situation. But if he was actually stuck, it was pretty much donezo for Jiggle. It seems like Malik, though, trying to spot someone out from Seal. Seal playing it out pretty cautiously. They do know, Seal does know. Any peek from their side, and Skylightz Gaming is just there to take him out, just to dome them down instantly. While we take a look at Baron, kind of securing the car for himself, that means he's ready for a crucial move. He's ready for a crucial rotation instantly. While another player of Seal, Ankle, kind of all the way in the back lines, providing that cover. This is a good setup coming in from the side of Seal.
Most certainly, dude, because as soon as this circle shifted down towards Lipovka, we saw Sealy Sports make it not towards the center of the zone that's going to be Lipovka, but on the other tangent towards the north of that zone itself. But right now, as the same approach was applied towards Vibe as well, this is where Vibe was able to dominate and get another player from Sealy Sports knocked, and that's going to be Zaki at the receiving end, sadly. But eventually, that is going to be something that will be absolutely rectified, because Zaki does have players around him, and he will be given that revive, no question about it. And Baron is the one who will be able to take care of it. As he does so, we do have that perfect flank coming in from Ankle, who will be able to give that perfect support. But now, talking about the circle itself, as these teams thought that moving down towards Lipovka is going to be a bit of a disarray situation, they got themselves towards the north of the zone, but now they are going to have to move down towards Lipovka, because that's exactly where the circle is pushing them through. But talking about the center of the circle itself, we've got Skylightz Gaming in the center of the zone, and this team is taking a lot of heat, a lot of lead, a lot of damage onto themselves. Only one man surviving, and that's going to be Heaven.
The last man surviving in the fight. So many fights breaking down, circle shrinking out as well. Right in the front lines of Heaven. He did spot him out, but he does know he's the last man surviving. Challenging this fight isn't going to be a good choice. The fight between that was going down between Seal and Wibes. It's still going out, but Wibes is kind of wasting Seal's time. They're not really letting Seal go inside the circle. As long as Wibes is going to be in the middle of the way, Seal as well cannot just ignore them and straight up go inside the circle, because Wibes will gun them down in the rotation. So Seal are kind of stuck in that position for now. But Deadeyes kind of doing pretty good even in the late game circles. All 4 players alive. The consistency from this squad has been shown. And even though they are not playing it safe, they want to spot people out. They want to spot each and every single player out. Over here, jumping over here and there, trying to jump spot people. But still, it seems like Deadeyes aren't really finding any kind of success. Take a look at Malik. He finally made the push, but Seal seems like they've already taken an exit from this position. Finally spotting one player out, taking him down instantly. A little glimpse is going to be enough, and Malik works on it.
Absolutely does. And Malik is the one who has certainly once again destroyed the likes of Seal Esports. Baron has been down, only one man surviving. That's going to be Ankle, who was at the flank angle. And that's the only man who will, as of now, be able to move along into the ratio of what this game has to offer. And Ankle is what we've got on our screens onto the right hand side as we move on along with Vibes Prabeen, who is running to get himself into the zone. Talking about Ankle, well, Zaki and Ankle are the ones who are still surviving from CD Sports, but the way they're rushing into the zone, this is not looking good. Zaki goes down. Ouch.
That was probably one of the most anxious moments inside the game, because when they were trying to make the rotation, there was just so many teams staring at them. P and Crew being one of them, and finally they found the success. It's like they were just straight up driving in the jungle where there's like a lot of animals waiting for just them to eat them. But now A1 Esports locking their horns on the players of TDK inside the barn house, playing it out pretty safe. TDK this time. TDK, I'm not really seeing them, kind of pop out in the semifinals. Maybe on the day one they did pretty good, or day two, but then still, after those days, TDK hasn't really shown up pretty much. They are, on like a down gear for now. But maybe this game is where TDK, proves their grounds and comes out on top. But this is a pretty interesting circle. Now, the teams that still want to get inside the circle, the chances are they will have to directly enter the Lipovka side. But still, there are two teams guarding the edge lines, guarding the edge of the zone. So teams that want to make it inside the circle for now, it's going to be probably the toughest job of their life.
Exactly, because we've got Deadeyes Guys who are looking pretty comfortable on towards that hill that they are calling their own, but they are not all by themselves. As they move on down towards the circle itself, they've given away a little bit of that information, and that information is being relayed down towards the side of Team QWERTY. They've already got Reborn being sent back into the lobby, but that does not matter because Khan is the one who is in control right here, along with which it seemed like T2K is going to be making a push, but no, never mind T2K. It is R3D, my apologies there. R3D is the one making the push, and Khan is well equipped and prepared. He's got two players locked from the side of R3D. This is disaster spilling for R3D. A sad push, but eventually it is Team QWERTY that is going to be up on top of that wonderful aggressive stance.
Khan holds down that house single-handedly, takes 2-player down of R3D single-handedly. And Khan, wow, what a turn of events. R3D just got absolutely melted down by Khan there. And I am short of words right now. The way R3D challenged the fight, they looked pretty strong, but still
where was the utility?
Down. Yeah, exactly. Utilities felt strong. I mean, the way R3D challenged the fight, they were looking good. A little bit of brain usage could have helped them.
That's a bit of roast right there, mate. But yeah, they were roasted. They genuinely were roasted by the side of Khan and Team QWERTY indeed. But moving that conversation along to the lads that are surviving with 21 minutes into the game, we've got A1 Esports looking pretty comfortable into the zone once again with 3 defeats to them. That implies 3 points, looking pretty comfortable. But right here, Team QWERTY is the one that is on the receiving end, and it is B and Crew's Season who seems to have found his luck, who seems to have found his perfect stance. And Voltrux is in a pretty precarious situation because he was able to actually get a decent amount of information, but sadly he's too far away to be able to help his teammate out, and eventually that's going to result in Destroyer being sent back into the lobby, resulting in Team QWERTY left with Voltrux and Khan, and PN's Season is the one who got perfect approach into that fight.
Yep, perfect approach in that fight. Team QWERTY doing pretty good, but they have Rahman down, even Destroyer. 2 of their best fraggers have already went down. But the IGL is still alive, and this is why Team QWERTY is looking good. This is why I always keep on saying IGL should always stay alive till the end, because he's the main pillar of the team. If he goes down early off, then this is where team starts crumbling down. But Voltrux, it seems like he has his sights locked on the player of P and Crew, the last man alive Season. But there's just so many teams in such late game. Take a look at that. 7 teams alive. And take a look at the circle as well. Such a small circle. And even when the next circle shift happens, all these teams will need to make it inside. And there's just going to be so many kills flying away that we are going to be, falling short to track them all.
That is so very true, mate. Because again, I mean, we are 23
no.
minutes into the zone. Now going to be moving on down towards the 7th zone of this game. Voltrix has been knocked. It is going to be Khan, the only man surviving. He will certainly try and get that revive as he's got that cover coming in the name of Smoke. And Voltrix will certainly be able to get that revival for the moment. But as the zone shifts in along towards the side of Team QWERTY, they are not looking good as far as their placement is concerned. As A1 Esports have the information, they know exactly where that team is. A1 Esports still looking pretty comfortable in the zone. They are with 4 man alive, looking absolutely dominating. But move that conversation towards what we can expect from these teams. 6 teams alive. 23 minutes in the game. We still have I8, Blade surviving all by himself, T2K also in the zone, in the edge of the circle, all 4 members alive. DE has all 4 members alive. I mean, this is what you need, especially on the map Erangel. As you move along, you want to have all 4 members alive of your team, and that is what T2K is making count of.
Well, within a blink of an eye, teams are down to just 4 now. There were 7 teams alive before, and now the number has been reduced to 4. I mean, Stalwart kind of did get caught off guard in the open grounds. They didn't really have like any other choice to move in the to move inside the circle. It was more kind of like a do or die. So unfortunate moment for I8 there. But now we have Deadeyes as well, still alive in the game. 4 teams alive. One of them is going to be Deadeyes. One of them is Team QWERTY, and then the other one is A1 Esports. For now, things are looking pretty tricky on all these sides. TDK, though, still looking pretty strong. And as I did say, this might be TDK's game.
It could very well be, actually, because again, when you talk about the kill department, it is DE that is dominating as of now with 9 defeats to themselves. A1 Esports not that far behind, but they've got the compound working in their favor. T2K is all out in the open, but eventually they are in the zone, and that's going to be pretty good for them. They've got 2 defeats, so only 2 points is what they've got as of now. Team QWERTY's final player, Voltrix, is also part of this fight, but I guess not for long, because now we moved on down towards 3 teams remaining, and these are the teams that we've been talking about. We've got DE, we've got A1, and Train to kill.
Train to kill. They are certainly trying to kill. But A1 Esports as well. Strong. Pretty strong inside this end game. I want to see how things pan out for A1 Esports. Sinister is probably looking pretty confident as well. Yesterday he had some incredible pop-out moments. So maybe today as well will be the same kind of situation for him. Take a look at TDK. Blah, blah, blah. Kind of try to, press in onto Deadeyes. But Deadeyes, they have one player all the way in the back lines. That means the flank angle is still there. Even if TDK, blah, 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 decides to push in, the guy in the back line is going to be taking him down as soon as he exposes his body. So blah, blah, blah should not push in. Maybe wait for Deadeyes to make some kind of rookie mistakes. At least wait for that one knockout to be found, and then maybe they can make the push. But A1 Esports, Sinister, kind of being a snake right now, playing as safe as possible because he doesn't have any other choice. He needs to play it inside the grass. He needs to be one with the nature.
That is so very true. But talking about Hungrybox, he's the one that you were talking about when it comes to DE's approach. Hungrybox is the one who is at the flanking angle. He knows that there is some team that will try and rush and gun towards them, and that is going to be none other than T2K. Jane right now is in the cover, but not for long because the zone is going to be pushing him away from that perfect approach that he thinks he's got in towards the zone itself. And right here, we did see Hungrybox kind of getting that information preparing himself to get into that fight. But as he does so, he needs to be careful because he's the only one on towards that flank angle. If he goes down, DE is going to be on top of the hill, but not be able to survive the flank. They are in a sandwich situation that could be theirs or not. Only time will tell because A1 Esports is on one side. They're trying to rush on along towards the hill, and along with which it is DE. DE is in control of this fight. They are taking down players of A1 Esports as well as T2K.
Take a look at A1 Esports. It's pretty much the last man standing strong. TDK as well, 2 players short right now, and seems like Deadeyes are just dominating the entire late game zone for now. A1 Esports slowly and steadily getting back on their feet. They're rezzing all their players out. And that one player on the flank angle, Hungrybox is putting in so much work on the players of TDK. as we take a look at Shifu, sir, raining down death and destruction on the players of Venom Esports. Now TDK is the only squad that is still alive and maybe in the competition of Deadeyes for now. The rest of the players of Deadeyes are looking pretty strong as well. It's a 4-on-2 situation. Pretty much the odds are in the Deadeyes' favor unless they decide to push this compound one by one, and this is where the players might just be taken down one by one as well. Never challenge a fight all by yourself when you have your teammates.
That is so true. We've got T2K's Ultrasarge as well as Rated, so the only two who are alive in the warehouse. But again, the opponent team, that's going to be DE. That is going to be running for them, gushing for them, because they are all 4 members strong. They are going to be pushing along. They've got the entire information. They are going to be flanking this entire warehouse from the 2 sides. T2K Ultrasarge as well as Rated, so do not have a lot that they can offer. All they can do is hunker down and hope for DE to push on and create one of those opportunities for which T2K is going to be well prepared, because there is no way T2K's players are going to be able to make this rush convert into their fight. They are going to be hunkering themselves down towards only one side of this zone. But talking about DE, they are really in control of the fight, but at the same point of time, you talk about the utilities, you talk about the meds and whatnots, they've got nothing.
Definitely kind of lacking. I mean, in the end kind of zones, you know, almost all the teams do lack on those meds as well. So, I mean, even on the TDK side, take a look with Sarga, just 1 first aid. I mean, even if he gets the time to pop out that first aid, probably Deadeyes is going to be pushing in until then. And this is where they're also getting pinned down. Look at that. Zone is moving in. They just have that little corner on their name. Here comes the utility usage as well. Those Molotovs doing quite a lot of damage. With Sarga finally getting roasted down to a chicken, and this is where they got their chicken dinner as well. Deadeyes with an incredible performance. Look at the amount of kill they racked up. I mean, my math is not good, so Blotter, I'm gonna let you do the thing.
Absolutely, dude, because again, I mean, this team walked away with 16 kills right here. Yesterday, we saw match number 9 moving on down towards DE's approach, and they walked away with 14 kills, and that was Hungry Box that took a lead. And today, it is Hungry Box and Suyogsa who are in control of this domination coming in from the team. Eventually, move that conversation towards T2K and A1 Esports as well. These teams needed to showcase that sort of an approach, and that's exactly what they've done. Even though T2K walked away with only 2 kills, eventually they did come up on top pretty much, right? Walking away with 2 kills as well as the second position is going to lead them to 14 points, I think, and that's going to be really good in their overall standing. So that is perfect. Again, with that, A1 Esports walking away with 5 kills on the 3rd spot. Perfect, just perfect. 13 points to that team as well. So it is looking pretty neat. It is looking genuinely pretty neat. But the teams that are dominating are now standing out.
Exactly, they are standing out. Deadeyes came out on top in the first game with 17 kills on their name. And, well, I mean, I have nothing else to say. You know, I mean, I was literally talking about Deadeyes even at the start. They have some good players on their side as well. And unfortunately, in the PMPL, they weren't really able to win, but maybe in the regional finals, if they keep on the performance that are showing right now in the scrims, I'm pretty sure they are probably, you know, going to be coming out on top in the regional finals as well. But there are way much more better teams as well for the competition. So you will have to wait and watch how things play or how things turn out. Because in the next game, we have Zeus coming up. And Zeus in these scrims, I really feel like it's like they just don't care. Even in super weekends, we do know each and every single chicken dinner means $1,000 on your name, which Zeus is like they were not prioritizing chicken dinners more. It was more kind of like they were going for those kills. They didn't care about the chicken dinner. They didn't care about those $1,000.
That is true. That is the Zeus approach. No two ways about it. But talking about the lobby that we just witnessed, it was absolutely miraculous for so many of these teams that we had been talking about again and again. You know, the ones that were at the latter half of that leaderboard. Yesterday itself, we saw A1 Esports move all the way from the bottom of the page towards the top of the page itself, towards the first page itself. And that was looking ferociously awesome for the side of A1 Esports. Talk about T2K. We just did mention in the pregame segment that they have been that one team that in the first week on the day number 1 were looking in control. But as the scrims progressed on along, they kind of faltered down. But now is where they make that mark. Now is when things are going to turn on around, because that is where they're going to be wanting to get those points working in their favor. If it's placement points or if it's kills, that's one way or the other going to be working towards you. But then again, as we started this conversation, the teams that are dominating, like for example DE, as you mentioned Zeus, you know, they get that one good game, they get the placement points, they get the kills. everything on point, you're walking away double the amount of points that your opponents have.
Exactly, double the points of your opponents have. Let's take a look at the top players for now. As we have Lucas, sir, from Deadeyes with 6 kills wrapped up for himself. Hungrybox with 5 kills on his name as well. Then we have Sinister with 4 kills. And Shifu, sir, it's pretty much like Deadeyes, almost like the entire roster coming up over here. But Sinister was like, no, I'm gonna squeeze the spot away from one of your players.
Exactly. 14 kills being distributed amongst these 3 lads from Deadeyes Guys. Beautiful turn of events for this team. I mean, the way they ended yesterday and the way they're starting off today in the Scrims Season 2 by Nodwin Gaming is beautiful to be a part of. But move that conversation towards A1 Esports Sinister. Well, again, A1 Esports certainly did deserve this limelight, and they are walking into it pretty gracefully, you know. I mean, the gameplay that they showcased to us was spot on. With the amount of kills that they did get, they are going to be looking at second position based on this match's ranking, 15 points. But once again, I mean, as we just did mention, Deadeyes Guys, the teams that are on top, they're walking away with double the amount of points that their opponents have, and that is going to be, again, witnessed right here with 32 points that DE has.
Exactly. Well, I mean, that's quite a lot of points, you know, right there. I mean, 17 kills on their name, 32 points wrapped up. I mean, I'm pretty sure at this point in time, they've gotten themselves a massive lead overall, even over Wives, because in this game, they just managed to secure 6 points, which is like nothing. 6 points is nothing. It's like you better just do not get any points if you just have 6 points, especially when you're this late. I mean, this late in the competition. But all you want to aim for is probably one of the best games if you are going for those top spots. Blood Legion still on 4 points. I mean, 3 kills and 1 placement points. Blood Legion needs to step their gameplay up, including R3D. I mean, R3D, man, I don't know what happened exactly with this team, you know, from the days of PMPL. In the PMPL, they were doing absolutely good. But now, what exactly happened to R3D? I mean, they seem kind of lost.
Honestly, again, we got to go back to the conversation that we were having when it comes down to the scrims, right? It seems like R3D are trying an experimental approach when it comes down to these games, but move that conversation towards the overall ranking. This is where we, of course, do see that perfect lead that you were talking about, Deadeyes Guys, with 126 points to them. There is no other team that has moved into that 3-digit marker in terms of that total points. It is Vibe right now that is looking at 97 points for themselves. On the second position, DRS on third, and A1 Esports on the fourth with 73 points. So again, I mean, A1 Esports is on a roll, looking phenomenal.
Exactly. They're absolutely looking phenomenal. But now DRS Gaming is still on third, and I mean, A1 Esports did quite incredible in the previous game, so of course they got themselves a little leap on Astra Academy. But in the next one, we have Astra Academy coming up as well. And now, are they going to be able to get their position back? I mean, I personally want to see a team like TUF, you know, come out on top, because these kind of teams, I really feel like they're not really getting that much of a known, as I would like to say, as much of the spotlight they deserve. Because TUF, the previous day, they were just showing an incredible performance, and I really feel like if they keep it going, they might just end up winning these $1,000.
That is true, but God's Reborn on the other tangent, a team that needs to slowly but hopefully today make a big difference in terms of their games. Because again, I mean, this is a team that's going to be jumping into the second game that we're going to be a part of in a few moments. But of course, the first game they did not play. But eventually, a team that does need to bring their level up once again. Talking about so many of these teams, they're slowly and steadily grinding, but yes, surely finding themselves in a decent placement overall when it comes down to the entirety of the game. But again, where is that consistency? They don't have that many games remaining. If you really want to be a part of that $2,000, you better bring that consistency every single game.
Exactly. Consistency. Consistency is a massive word. This little word can just, you know, convey so many things. Is that you need to be consistent no matter what. This is
true.
Still, even if these are the scrims, if you are the best of the best teams, you know, even if you're not trying, I still feel like you should be on the top.
That's true, mate. That is so very true. But with that, we've got day number 4's first game taken care of. We've got 2 more games remaining. But before we jump into that, of course, those of you who are sitting back at home, Where's the love at? Do not forget to showcase all of your love and support for these teams. Even though these are scrims, they are bringing in the best aggressive stance that these teams can possibly can. And with that, it is thanks to you lads who have been supporting them already. And those of you who have not, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? With that, we've got one game done, like I just said. We've got 2 more games remaining for day number 4 of season 2 of these pro scrims by R3D Gaming. Stick around. We're going to go on a very, very short break. Be right back.
If you get too close, you'll be knocked down and take damage. When Titans get ready to unleash a heat ray, the system will prompt players to leave the red zone marked on the minimap. Players equipped with high-level armor receive reduced damage from the heat ray. Titans will absorb energy which emanates gradually from the earth. Once the energy reaches a certain threshold, Titans release it and create Titan crystals around them. Different types of Titan crystals provide different effects. Erangel's blue Titan crystals are special throwable items that players can equip. They knock back and burn enemies who are behind cover. Sandhook's gold Titan crystals enhance players' abilities, making you run faster and jump higher. Livik's red Titan crystals give players the ability to detect enemies nearby for a brief period of time. These enhancement items give players an edge in battle. Use them and bring the chicken dinner home. With the help of Titan crystals, players have even more unique tactics to achieve victory. Godzilla and Kong roam Erangel and Sandhook respectively, and players may bump into them on Spawn Island. Players can preview the Titan's route on the minimap, along with Apex Cybernetics, and low, mid, and high-level monster settlements. Apex Cybernetics are scattered along the Titan's route, which contains many valuable supplies. However, players can only enter the facility after a Titan has destroyed the base. Players that arrive early will not be able to get into the highly fortified Apex camp. At the same time, defeating different monster settlements rewards good supplies. Monster settlements are mainly occupied by lizards and crabs. Players can use a diversion to divide and conquer. The monsters are big, so using a shotgun at close range can deal huge damage. Players must also be wary of the Titan's attacks. Although they're not hostile towards players, they get irritated when there's too many players around. The Titan on Livik has unique electromagnetic abilities that affect the blue zone and cause it to shift every once in a while. Now, players must pay constant attention to the new play zones and transfer immediately when they begin to shrink, as to ensure they're not swallowed by the blue zone. Furthermore, Mechagodzilla periodically scans an area of the safe zone and marks the locations of everyone in the area on the minimap. This urges players to transfer or engage their enemies. Players must be extra careful. The Titan Strikes game mode is based on Battle Royale. Players must strive to be the last one standing amidst battling other players and Titans. With the addition of Titans, players are ready to witness their majesty and get their hands on the mysterious Titan crystals. Enjoy the all-new Titan Strikes and experience the earth-shattering might of them.
Hello and welcome once again to PUBG Mobile Pro Scrims South Asia. This is, of course, all thanks to Nordwind Gaming. Season 2, day number 4 is where we're at. We are jumping in along with a new set of group now, where we do have, as Necro mentioned, Zeus Esports, as well as I think Astra that's going to be chiming in along, right?
Yep, Astra is coming in as well. I mean, it's pretty much like these two teams are getting the most spotlight, so we're going to be focusing on these two teams for now, you know. Let's just focus on these two teams from the other groups, because it's just like they just have so much names, so we'd rather just talk about them, you know. And I mean, don't get me wrong, other teams are probably pretty good as well, but I mean, Zeus and Astra, they have been proving themselves time and time, and I just feel like they just deserve a lot of attention, and they are getting it as well. But now the plane fly pass starting from Yasnaya towards Hospital, what are your thoughts?
That's true, mate. Right now, we are certainly looking at Yasnaya being the one that is going to be the one that will, well, get the players the opportunity to move on towards the map of Erangel. All 3 games are certainly going to be on Erangel for now. We've got first game done. Second game is where we're a part of right now. And new teams jamming in along is where things could very well take a different name altogether. We've got DRS right here. We've got 7 Cs, as well as so many other names as we will move on along. But now, it is going to be maybe teams that like the southern part of the map, right? That is where we might see a different shift and a different drop location altogether.
Exactly, a different drop location altogether. And well, I mean, let's take a look at these teams. You know, we still have some teams taking an early exit from the play and fly path. Venom Legends came in inside this group as well. Seems like going towards Milta Power, which is pretty much understandable It's kind of like a comfort zone for them. But sometimes stepping out the comfort zone isn't really a bad choice, including PM Crew. Going to the place where they like to go. Interesting one as well. And now, I want to see where Zeus has dropped themselves, because if they drop in Georgia Pool, where INES is dropping for now, then INES are in a big trouble because they have wiped out INES every single time whenever they have encountered off-spawn each other. So it does make sense if Zeus takes them out instantly in the starting rounds. But here is kind of like a sudden circle, which is pretty interesting. I mean, the plane fly path was already on the above, and now you have a circle all the way in the no man's land. And then in the end time, there's just some teams gliding inside the circle, realizing if they drop on their main locations, then maybe they would be kind of real far away from the main circle as well. So maybe getting inside the circle and then looting sounds pretty much a good idea, because you don't really have to worry about the zone anymore. We still have INES kind of scouting the area out, taking a little chill pill while looting as well. Clutch trying to shoot out the tires. He does know there's one team in the city area, so maybe he just doesn't want to give them a ride. He just wants to burst the tires out, so later on Zeus might just struggle if they're a bit too late to get inside the circle. Unless if they start moving early off inside the circle, then Zeus might just not be in a massive trouble. But now what INES is doing is a pretty good move as well to kind of make Zeus suffer for what they've done in the past to INES. So now it's more kind of like a revenge story being served from these lads. While we still have INES having the entire George Pool containers area, which means they're going to be racking up quite a lot of loot for themselves. And it seems like even the observers like the way INES is looting, so they are kind of sticking onto him. Well, I mean, the circle was definitely interesting, without any doubt. Circle was a pretty interesting one, but I want to see how it's going to be playing out in the later of the games, because Team Vibes hasn't really dropped any like a solid compound for themselves, kind of in the off compound in the out of middle of nowhere. So loot, maybe Vibes will be struggling onto it. As you can see, only one first aid racked up for themselves, a Scarl, and then we have the M24 on the backpack as well. Well, I mean, on the med situation, Vibes is pretty much on that struggle phase for now. Well, we have Portal Esports, which did come inside this group as well. Mom2, I want to see how this man is going to be performing in the games, because Mom2, of course, probably one of the best men inside the squad of Portal Esports we have seen in the past. This man has pulled out some insane clutches. I don't really need to elaborate longer on this fact that Mom2 has to be probably one of the best in the squad, neither probably in the Pakistan region. I mean, one of the best players to offer without any doubt. Pretty much peaceful environment. The map of Erangel. The first map, early engagements were happening, but in the second one, seems like things are looking pretty slow. Each team taking their time to approach things. Understandable situations for all these teams as well for now. The circle shift might just be near Primorsk or Quarry, or if it's going to be a bridge circle, then it's pretty much going to be a hell breaking loose on all these teams that are kind of far away. And then in those late circles, it's just going to be an absolute ruckus being caused from all these teams. Things might not be looking good sometimes, but we still have teams like Portal Esports giving their best to make it on the top of the leaderboards. High Voltage as well, they were kind of on the 16th position. They do realize the main aim over here is to get the #1. Talking about teams like High Voltage, I mean, whenever I hear the name High Voltage, one thing appears in my mind is the tacticality of this team, the way they approach things, the way they approach fights, the way they rotate as well, even on the map of Sandhawk. It's pretty much kind of interesting way how High Voltage likes to take those fights in these games. And then High Voltage, whenever each and every single fight they want to take, if they have enough breathing space, they always have one man going on the lurker side and the rest three kind of distracting the other ones. So it's just kind of interesting strategies coming out from the side of High Voltage. Assassin is the man who is kind of like the fragger role. Give this man an M4 success, and this he will put on a show for you guys. Well, for now, it's just pretty much like all the teams are making the rotation inside the circle, looting it out, you know, taking their sweet little time. I still remember in the PMPL, there was a zone on the Primorsk area on the edges, and the final teams were kind of TDK, if I remember. They had the shorelines on their side, but they still managed to kind of lose the situation out because the player advantage was kind of on the other teams, which did kind of catch them off guard. But still, TDK put on an absolute show, which is pretty much understandable if you're going to be having the shorelines on your side, especially when the circle is favoring the shores. We do expect a team like TDK to rack up a lot of kills on their name. But then, if we talk about teams like Zeus, on the other hand, it doesn't matter what kind of position they have. They will steal it away from the enemy lines. Even if they don't have a good position, if they see a team which have a good position, they will just steal away that position. And then we have coming up F4, which is now, of course, Team QWERTY. Team QWERTY was a team who eliminated, I think so, Zeus completely. They actually squad wiped Zeus, and I think so it was pretty much a flawless execution as well. And I was amazed at that point because, I mean, F4 took down Zeus, and I was just so amazed. I was like, what exactly happened there? How things went down, how things didn't really go the way of Zeus, and things like those, you know, sometimes the random factor inside the game, when you don't really expect something to happen and it happens, it just kind of, you know, shakes your mind away. It just kind of it just kind of shocks you. And this is why this is what I like about PUBG especially. Things like those are probably one of the best moments you can ever imagine or ever get in these games. But for now, it seems like God's Reborn finally making a rotation inside the circle. All these teams are making the rotation. This is where maybe a little bit of fights will happen finally. And finally, a fight will be breaking down. Probably, hopefully it does break down, because for now, up till now, it's been a pretty peaceful environment in the map of Erangel. And things are not really looking, you know, good. Things are not really looking good in those aggression-wise, because all these teams are taking their sweet little time looting and then maybe making it out of the initial compound that they started looting and then getting inside the circle. Now, I just want to see how they're going to be situating themselves, because where the circle is going to be panning out is still a mystery. Probably in the center of the circle, but still, where the circle is going to be panning out, because whenever we've seen such kind of a circle, most of the times it has been a drastic shift either towards the Brit side or either towards the Primorsk side. So now this time I want to see how things will be panning out. While we see a fight happening, finally breaking down between Futurestation 1952. It's gonna be INES getting caught off guard in the rotation. Skylightz taken down. The rest of the INES squad is still on the hilltop. It's gonna be Clutch and Newty. Magnet kind of aware of their position as well. Kind of does hear that buggy going down. Shots being fired from here and there. Magnet taking a little damage in that brawl, but kind of didn't make it out alive. INES is pretty lucky up till now to stay alive, because Magnet did miss quite a lot of shots. INES just escaped the mouth of death. Pretty lucky for now. INES should kind of wait out in these kind of situation. Maybe try and play it out as safe as possible. If you don't really play safe, things might not be looking good for you. INES though did kind of opted out to go all the way inside the blue zone and then maybe rotate all the way on the other side, hopefully in the search of a safe path. But this late in the game, you're not really going to be finding a safe path. Well, I mean, that's kind of a questionable buggy driving right there. Maybe you should have slowed down on such kind of roads. You know, bumpy roads are always a kind of tricky factor to drive in. Try and slow down your vehicle, because that will, of course, get stalled if you're going in too much high speed in such kind of things. And that was kind of an additional damage. He should not have taken that damage. He probably used up quite a lot of heals. Made it inside the circle, opted out to heal, and now the circle is on a move again. That means INES are not having any time to rest. They have to be on a move. They have to move. They don't really have any time left over here. And now it seems like INES, there's a massive chance that they might just get caught off guard in those rotations. It's pretty understandable. I mean, this at this late in the game, there's still some teams who haven't made it inside the zone successfully, and we have Venom Legends locking their horns against Astra Academy, barely making it inside the zone as well. Pretty lucky to be there. 7C kind of getting in a brawl between Vibes there. Vibes seem to be pretty heavy inside this entire fight. Prabir opting out to play the fight as safe as possible. 7C doing an incredible job as well. Rig already taken down and dusted. Now it seems like Smoke is going to be utilizing his utility, smoking his position out, making sure he's getting the anonymous factor off his position in the game as well. And it seems like 7C are in no mood to challenge a fight, at least for now. They want to play it out safe. They want to take their time to approach things, which is understandable. Yep. Blotter, I think so we need to refresh. Yeah, things are looking pretty questionable on their side, especially. Well, I mean, it seems like finally we're back. We had some technical issues going on over here and there. Sometimes it does happen, unfortunate moments. And, well, here we go. Finally, we're back with things. And I really feel like, I mean, we didn't miss out on any action. Just some audio issues going on here and there. But now we're finally back in the game. High Voltage taken down Extreme as well, kind of being the prey of Venom Legends for now. Venom Legends seems like they're not going to be having any mercy anytime soon. And for now, Venom Legends looking pretty strong. Havoc has been down. Havoc has been taken down. The kill should be confirmed anytime soon. Venom Legends are on that aggressive pace. They smell the blood. They want the prey. They want the prey in their hands. They're hunting them down each and every single time. And Venom Legends, the possibility of coming out on top in that fight is pretty much stronger. So Venom Legends finally seems like they have come out on top in that fight. And finally, Venom Legends seems like they're going to be inserting dominance inside this entire game.
They most certainly did. With that, they've got High Voltage taken care of, and they've got no other team around in the vicinity that can take Venom Legends on. But talking about DRS, we just did witness DRS in the crosshairs of High Voltage, and now we've only got Mr. Burrower and another teammate who are the two-man surviving for the side of that team. But move that conversation towards TRZ, another game that they do want to be able to put their name on upon. They are on top of that hill trying to bridge, but how will they be able to take this fight? Because they are, well, again, they are on top of that hill. Yes, that's working for them. They are waiting for teams to try and approach them as they are in the zone, and there are so many teams that they do know of that are outside the zone, in the name of course, Team QWERTY right in front of our screens right here, and it is Atomic from TRZ, who has his crosshairs on Voltrix from Team QWERTY, and QWERTY is again looking pretty comfortable as they make the rotation, but they're going to be moving on down towards the position of Zeus Zeol, and he would probably be the one who will take that kill. Well, for now, that's not the case because Venom Legend have stepped in.
Venom Legends have finally stepped in. As Steel Shot has been taken down, Frypan as well, kind of being the prey of that. Venom Legends, just now they wiped out a full squad of High Voltage, and now they're being wiped out by TRZ. Oh, TRZ, man. Absolute incredible team. Ruffles kind of separated out from the rest of the pack, all the way in the back lines. Well, I mean, this is what you really get for separating out from the rest of the pack. You should always stick together, especially when you realize that this is a team game. And things are ought to happen if you're not really next to each other. You should be there all the time to provide that cover fire for yourself. TRC still there in the front lines, kind of atomic, also spotting out the areas, trying to scout each and every single player down as well. He does know there's one team that is pinned down right under their crosshairs. And it's only a matter of seconds when this team decides to peek out and they will be taken down. That's P and Crew season, taking down a player of Zeus. Zeus this time seems like pretty unfortunate turn of events for them. They're not really able to show up in the scrims.
That's sad, dude. That is so very sad. And again, I mean, tragic is not the word that I do want to be wanting to use, but that is what the case is for the moment. But move that conversation towards the side of 7C. Now, this team is wanting to take on the flank of Astra, as Astra made that water rotation and trying to get into the circle, but bring that conversation back towards the side of TRZ. They were on top of that hill. They still have all 4 members alive. They've got 3 defeats to themselves. That is 3 points converted. Easy peasy, no questions asked. 20 minutes into the zone, into the game, we've got the zone shifting as well when it comes to the 30 seconds. That is what is remaining to get us in towards the 6th zone.
That is what's remaining to get in the 6th zone. Astra Academy as well inserting dominance inside the entire game for now, taking down the players of 7C one after other. 7C kind of on the hilltop for themselves to have the high ground, but for now they're the center of attraction. They're attracting a lot of people onto themselves, and of course Astra Academy being one of them as well. They're not going to be stepping back anytime soon. We do know sometimes how Astra Academy works, how they are pretty good on what they do. But Zeus Godless seems like taking little shots here and there. P and Crew in the front lines as well. They are dishing out quite a lot of damage, but still Zeus, last man surviving. Godless, what is he going to be able to do?
Well, GG indeed for Godless, because again, he's the only man surviving. He does need to get into the zone, but talking about holding the zone, holding the line, it is P and Crew, and of course so many other teams that Godless will have to be careful of, because we've got R3D in his crosshairs if he wants to as well. But sadly, he's the only man surviving, so that is going to be one of those conversations that he's going to have by himself and his teammates, hopefully, if he should do so or not. Because talking about points, right, eventually the points is what matters, and Zeus, as of now, when it comes to the games that they've had, are not looking too good to the points. But talking about Astra Academy this time around, talking about the points once again, Astra Academy has only got that 1 kill converted into that 1 point. On the other tangent, as they move in towards these final few moments of the game, they are on the receiving end. One player that's going to be tapped is already knocked and actually probably going to get killed as well. But on the other tangent, it is R3D making their way into the zone pretty comfortably, taking down whatever team that crosses their crosshair and converting those into points, which R3D so very much needs.
Exactly, they need it. They need it. They're pretty curious for that. They're hungry for that. They need it desperately. TRZ spotting out R3G right in the front lines. Of course, Portal Esports is the squad. Sex Pistol kind of out in the open. He's taking quite a lot of damage from the zone as well. It's chunking out a lot of damage. You cannot afford to stay out of the zone for a longer time unless you have a lot of meds on your back. Then yeah, maybe it does make sense. But I quite like his name as well. We have TRZ Mamba kind of scouting out the area. Did spot out one player that is right below them. And this is where they need to kind of play safe as possible. Pistol cannot move anywhere, because if he does, then he's going to be chunking out quite a lot of damage, and the zone is not going to be having any mercy onto him. And yes, he will be taken down by the player P and Crew.
That is so very true, mate. And indeed, as we move on towards these final few moments of this zone, we've got 25 minutes, rather 25 seconds, my apologies. If only the teams had 25 minutes to get themselves comfortable into the zone. But sadly, it is now converted into 15 seconds remaining as we move on down towards the 7th zone. 22 minutes in, we've got 6 teams alive. TRZ still on the perfect rotation and that perfect grind that is working in their favor. God's Reborn also have all 4 members alive for themselves. But will they be able to hold that fort? Because TRZ are trying to make that late rotation in towards the zone, and TRZ are the ones who are already part of that zone. Now moving towards, or rather focusing on towards the other tangent of this zone, we do have TRZ Esports that have 2 man alive, Nocto and Insane. This team has 5 defeats throughout. We've got Futurestation 7C in this game as well. This is looking real good once again. Perfect turn of events, because after all, Necro, we have been mentioning this again and again. The latter half of the leaderboard needs to showcase a lot more aggression, and that is what they're doing by this game.
Finally realizing what needs to be done in the game. But is it too late, though? That's the massive question. Is it too late to realize your mistake? But again, there's the saying, you should never be wasting your time. You should never be wasting your time crying over the wasted time. So now, let's just moving forward. Now better than never, as the Legend is taking quite a lot of damage in that rotation. It was more kind of a do or die situation. The zone forced him to move out the cover. Didn't really have any other choice. So kind of unfortunate positioning coming out from his side as well. Futurestation 1952 looking pretty good inside the fight. They are looking absolutely dominant as well. And now this nade might be so huge because there is one squad right there. If that nade gets knocked out, I'm pretty sure 1952 will find an opening and they will make a push.
That's true, mate. That is so very true. Talking about Futurestation now, this is where I'm first time in the game focusing my eyesight towards them. They are a 3-man army right now, and Futurestation, every single time we've seen them jump into this game, this is where throughout the scrims actually, Futurestation, from the first day itself, they were trying to grind things along in their favor. And right again, every single time they've been part of the game, they've been able to do so perfectly. Right now, we are, of course, looking at Sharpex from Futurestation, who has taken in charge of 7C's rotation. Memo is the one who he wants to be able to convert into a kill, into a point. And 7C's Memo is the only lad surviving from the looks of it for the entirety of 7C's squad. TRZ Esports are very close to the edge of that zone. He is trying to make a little bit of a peek. Insane is insane to be trying to do so. And, well, sadly, God's Reborn's Yoshi was not able to get that point. Ouch.
That was pretty close. That shot just whizzes past him. But now we still have TRZ Esports, Nocto alive and Insane kind of backing him up as well. Magnet spotting out one player of TRZ Esports. He's pinned down behind that shack. It's like he doesn't have any other place to move. Did miss quite a lot of shots, Magnet. You cannot afford to make such kind of mistakes. If that was a knockout right there, you could have gotten yourself 1 point and then maybe a full squad wipe as well. God's Reborn still alive with all 4 players, building themselves a smoke wall to move inside the circle slowly and steadily, because the king of the hills are going to be Futurestation 1952. That nade was just so good. Entry finally retaliating back in style. Kind of, getting the redemption, kind of redeeming himself for what kind of mistakes he made in the past. And now Magnet kind of showing the dominance inside the game.
Absolutely, mate. That is going to be crucial for the side of Futurestation to hold this ground. On top of the hill, they certainly are. We've got 4 teams remaining into this zone. 7th zone is what we're at. 26 minutes, almost down towards the 27th minute into the game. Things are looking pretty ludicrous for now, because Futurestation, a 3-man squad, a 3-man army, is in control of this hill, in control of this final circle, in control of the fights, of the points. 7 defeats, correction, and that is going to be converted into 8. No questions asked. Boy, oh boy, Futurestation, almost as if they were part of a tarot card reading. They knew exactly where to be, where to have their crossbows placed. But talking about 7C Memo, he is the final man surviving, and he is still alive as we jump into the final moments of this game. 3 teams alive, Necro.
Exactly, 3 teams alive. Only if 7C wasn't there, then it could have been a team alive for now. Memo is still there. Oh my god, he's barely clinching in through behind that vehicle. Seems like Futurestation have a little clue what's going on here. They do know 3 teams are alive, and they probably know how many numbers are going in as well. They do know it's maybe a one player for one team, and then the rest are going to be the 2-1. So
this is close.
One is a solo player right next to him, standing right next to him. Entry, kind of getting the feel, kind of sensing his presence as well. 7C taking quite a lot of damage, finally taken down as well. Memo taking the dust, but PES seems like they're going to be spamming the smoke as well. 1952 took quite a lot of damage in that beating, in that fight. And finally seems like going to be backing off. Nocto as well, kind of being on the aggressive pace. Take a look at how aggressive he's being. And this is where he might just get caught off guard. He's being too impatient in this fight.
That's so very true, mate, because again, I mean, you talk about entry, you talk about Futurestation 1952, I mean, these lads are in control of this fight. They've got PUBG Esports 2 players alive. Nocto is on the receiving front. When you talk about 952 Futurestation, they are, well, losing 1 player shot, thus resulting in a 2v2 affair is what we've got. Sharpex is going to be moving himself down towards entry's position to be able to get that revival, because they do want to be able to have all 3 members alive. But right here, what do we see? Nocto making a perfect flank angle. This is looking ludicrous as this has turned into a 1v1 fight, but eventually it is Futurestation 1952 who take the better half of that fight. But talk about Magnet. Talk about entry. I mean, all the lads actually. A 3-man squad taking the entire lobby with some dominating plays. 10 kills to this team. Boy, oh boy, this couldn't have gotten any better for this team.
I am so shook right now. I am so freaking shook. I did not expect this team to win. I personally did not expect this team to win. I thought God's Reborn was still alive. Maybe they're going to be making things way much more worse for Futurestation. But then Futurestation somehow find their way through the nukes and crannies and still took them down. And God's Reborn were kind of shook with the ground they had. I mean, it's like, what are you supposed to do? And even though Futurestation was just a 3-man squad, they came out on top. And this proves my point. Is that 1952? I mean, before they were just called 1952. Futurestation 1952 have came such a long way. They have came such a long way, improved quite a lot since the PMPL.
Wow.
And this is what shows. This is what it shows. Even a PMPL experience, even though you have not qualified, even though you have not done that great, just experience can make you so mature. It can just absolutely change the way you think.
Exactly, dude. I mean, Magnet, entry, the way these lads were positioning themselves in towards that final zone, they were on top of the hill. So again, when you talk about that top of the hill position, right, it is really ludicrous to be a part of it. Yes, you have a lot of information, but that is based on the fact that you've got north, south, east, and west. You've got 4 angles to take care of, and this is a 3-man squad that we're talking about. But never mind the 3-man squad. Right here, as we were just mentioning, Magnet as well as entry, they are in the top players list for this game. PUBG Esports is insane, is there with, of course, Magnet with 5 kills to these lads. Move that conversation towards Futurestation 1952's entry and 7C's Memo. Memo's play was really phenomenal. He held that ground next to the position of FS 1952 for the longest time and walked away with the 3rd placement from this perfect game is what I want to say.
Exactly. I mean, did do pretty good in that previous game, to be honest. But Magnet kind of did miss out, shots on the player of 7C when he was trying to move out behind that shack there.
That was
but I mean,
incredible.
He did redeem himself.
So true, dude. So true. I mean, again, you talk about Memo and his placement. He was right next to that broken up buggy. And had he thrown a little bit of a nade, he actually could have taken down 2 players of Futurestation. That was so close, so close. But eventually, of course, Futurestation were the ones who did come up on top with 25 points, 10 kills to this team. PUBG Esports were looking comfortable. God's Reborn. God's Reborn, you do need to rebirth yourselves again. It is the communication, it is the synergy that needs to be worked on. They had all 4 members alive as we moved into this fight. God's Reborn, as you mentioned as well, this team should have been able to take that final zone and circle, but the way they approached it, they were always in the crosshairs of one team or the other, sadly.
Exactly. Reborn. Maybe there's just born. You know, it takes a longer time to understand things. But high voltage
Ouch.
though on 9th position. And well, it seems like placement points are going to be 0 on their side. I mean, of course, 9th position, you don't really get quite a lot of things. Kills are 3, and then total points are 3 as well. But guys, Reborn did pretty decent that game as well. I mean, they did got themselves kind of, you know, I think so. They got themselves the 4th position in the previous game as well. Racked up decent amount of kills as well. So, I mean, for now, they're looking good. But in the overall stats is what matters quite a lot. Because if you're not going to be looking good in the overall as well, then maybe sometimes, you know, things might be looking kind of shaky for you.
Absolutely, mate. But talking about the overall, talking about a team that has showcased a really good, phenomenal turn of events for themselves is going to be none other than A1 Esports. A team that yesterday, as the day started off, were on the bottom of that leaderboard, have picked their pace, have showcased a wonderful synergetic performance, are on the 5th spot, move that conversation towards the 2nd page of the leaderboard, 7C as well. I mean, this team was also on that latter half of the leaderboard, or rather the latter half of the leaderboard, but eventually they are looking pretty okay on that 2nd page for now. Zeus Esports sadly are not having the wonderful time of these scrims, but that's okay. I mean, we know they just need that one game, and that's how they opened the entire saga for themselves with that miraculous play that they brought in. But yeah, that again, whenever these conversations are brought in, I think Zeus Esports is the X factor that needs to be left out of these conversations.
Well, I mean, I was just looking at these bottom 5 positions, right? Then we have INES coming in, we have APES coming in, we have Stalwart Esports coming in as well, R3D, Blood Legion. I mean, just looking at this kind of makes me think, what went wrong? What exactly went wrong? What things are not really working in your favor? What is happening there? Maybe you need to figure something out. If some strategy is not working for yourself, try a new one. These are scrims. There's no problem even if you fail. This is not a big competition unless if it's like PMPL or PMCO, then maybe you need to stick to your measures, that you need to stick to your textbook strategies. For now, you can utilize new ones.
Absolutely, mate. That is going to be so very crucial, Necro. With that, we do reach the end of this game, along with which, of course, we still do have one more game remaining for these scrims, and to take us through, it is going to be Necro, and joined in is going to be Trooper. So I'm going to be taking your leave, but alongside that, we are going to be actually going on a very, very short break. Stick around. We'll be right back with the final game.
Version of PUBG Mobile, players may encounter titans during a match, just like in the movies. Let's learn more about the all-new game modes, shall we? Titan Strikes. The Titan Strikes mode introduces 3 titans to Erangel, Sandhook, and Livid. Godzilla and Kong move along designated routes across the map. Players can chase after them in vehicles, but if you get too close, you'll be knocked down and take damage. When titans get ready to unleash a heat ray, the system will prompt players to leave the red zone marked on the minimap. Players equipped with high-level armor receive reduced damage from the heat ray. Titans will absorb energy which emanates gradually from the earth. Once the energy reaches a certain threshold, titans release it and create titan crystals around them. Different types of titan crystals provide different effects. Erangel's blue titan crystals are special throwable items that players can equip. They knock back and burn enemies who are behind cover. Sandhook's gold titan crystals enhance players' abilities, making you run faster and jump higher. Livik's red titan crystals give players the ability to detect enemies nearby for a brief period of time. These enhancement items give players an edge in battle. Use them and bring the chicken dinner home. With the help of Titan Crystals, players have even more unique tactics to achieve victory. Godzilla and Kong roam Erangel and Sandhook respectively, and players may bump into them on Spawn Island. Players can preview the Titan's route on the minimap, along with Apex Cybernetics, and low, mid, and high-level monster settlements. Apex Cybernetics are scattered along the Titan's route, which contains many valuable supplies. However, players can only enter the facility after a Titan has destroyed the base. Players that arrive early will not be able to get into the highly fortified Apex camp. At the same time, defeating different monster settlements rewards good supplies. Monster settlements are mainly occupied by lizards and crabs. Players can use a diversion to divide and conquer. The monsters are big, so using a shotgun at close range can deal huge damage. Players must also be wary of the Titan's attacks. Although they're not hostile towards players, they get irritated when there's too many players around. The Titan on Livik has unique electromagnetic abilities that affect the blue zone and cause it to shift every once in a while. Now, players must pay constant attention to the new play zones and transfer immediately when they begin to shrink, as to ensure they're not swallowed by the blue zone. Furthermore, Mechagodzilla periodically scans an area of the safe zone and marks the locations of everyone in the area on the minimap. This urges players to transfer or engage their enemies. Players must be extra careful. The Titan Strikes game mode is based on Battle Royale. Players must strive to be the last one standing amidst battling other players and Titans. With the addition of Titans, players are ready to witness their majesty and get their hands on the mysterious Titan crystals. Enjoy the all-new Titan Strikes and experience the earth-shattering might of the Titans.
Let's get it.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to South Asia Pro Scrim, sponsored by Nodvin Gaming. And of course, Sean, with me this time, it's going to be a new person over here, Trooper. So how you doing, man? How you feeling?
I'm doing all right. How are you, Necro? And what do we have here? South Asia Pro Scrims at our hand. What can we expect out of this game, Necro?
Well, I mean, expectations are pretty much quite a lot from all these teams, you know, especially teams like Seal, the Zone Magnets, as we like to call them. Then we still have Zeus coming in as well. Zeus chiming in this group. And Zeus, we do know, I don't really need to elaborate much factor about them, how they play the game, how they approach things. It's pretty much straight up forward. Either they just go and die, either they will just dominate the entire lobby. Then we have other on the behalf teams like High Voltage, who like the tacticality of the map as well, who like to utilize each and every single building, each and every single compound on their behalf, and who utilize each and every single strategies as well. So I want to see how things play around in this game. TDK, first game, absolutely phenomenal placement as well, but got kind of stolen away by Deadeyes. But I want to see if this game, are they going to be able to come out on top?
Definitely, that's a very beautiful comparison that you have done between the gameplays of the teams of HV and Zeus as well. We'll see how T2K plays this game. Pretty experienced IGLs right now in the lobby, so we'll watch out for how the teams are going to enter inside this first zone, which is looking to capture the entire area or the entire island of military base right now. But the majority section is towards the main island. We can see A1 Esports falling quite close to the players of T2K here. We'll see if we find some early action in this scrims over here.
Exactly. We'll see if they find some early actions. I like this head, though. It's a pretty much big head. Imagine if you get caught off guard in the open grounds. It's a massive target right there. It's like a yellow bolt just moving around. Not going to be having a tough time to take him down, though. But Hungrybox has been taken down early off, down and dusted, smelling the dust, sniffing the dust of Erangel, and Blood Legion are going to be the one to put the nail in the coffin for him. Unfortunate turn of events for Deadeyes. Losing a man like Hungrybox, losing a passionate player like Hungrybox, maybe will punish them in the later games. While we still have Dominic kind of being on that aggressive page, does know maybe there's someone inside this compound, so Dominic wants to play it out as safe as possible, because there is one player on the right lines. And take a look at the setup coming out from the side of Blood Legion. 2 guys on the front lines and 1 guy in the back line as well. This is kind of pinning down the player of Deadeyes.
Yeah, definitely. We have seen this. We have seen this altercation between Blood Legion and DE for a very long time inside Rozok now. But it's good to see Blood Legion trying to dominate the scene over here. Box being out of the equation right now, Blood Legion have a really better amount of chances. And there you go, one more knock coming in there. But before that knock, there was another trade that DE did manage to secure. But I don't think that's going to be a lot of problem because the players of Blood Legion are like fairly distributed. They're not going to allow any casualty so easily. But speaking of Blood Legions, I'm really surprised to see them in the bottom, at the most bottom stage in the overall ranking right now. What is exactly going wrong there? What do you think, Necro?
Well, I don't know, man. I don't know. Well, I mean, even the PMPL, they were kind of looking down pretty bad. And I just feel like maybe sometimes the change of pace. If you know, Blood Legion in the PMCO of Bangladesh, they were just an absolute aggressive squad, getting almost 300 points for themselves in the PMCO finals as well. So moving down from that aggressive nature all the way down to passive nature, I just feel like such a massive difference in those skills, in those play styles, maybe have affected their gameplay as well. Maybe you need to stick to your basics. Maybe you need to just be aggressive as you are, the nature you have already. Try not to slow it down, but just have a controlled aggression.
Yep, we'll keep an eye on Blood Legion. Let's see when they can sort of make a comeback for themselves, because it's been pretty much time for them in the scene. Yep, they are here for quite some time now, and there we see some action happening for PS, in fact. But we'll see how Blood Legion does over the time. But right now at the hospital, we have 2 teams fighting over here. TUF here, TUF Thor on our screen is looking to push up there. Let's see if Edgar goes, and there's damage through that nade as well. But Edgar, he is still surviving there. But eventually, Avenger gets that kill, and TUF have completely secured the area.
Exactly. Final kill found on the side of TUF. Things looking pretty good on their side. TUF again is a team that have been asserting dominance since the previous day. I mean, we did see them, kind of doing absolute good, even in those skill departments, in the placement departments as well. So these kind of moments do kind of strengthen your mind strength as well sometimes, and they can help you out for that later success in the future. As Portal Esports making the move inside the circle, trying to find themselves a good place where they can call it a home, probably in the center of the circle. We have seen time and time in the past as well, all these teams like to accumulate in the center of the circle, and then later on it's just a hell breaking loose.
Well, we'll wait to see if that happens the same again in this game or not. But yes, that has been the recent meta in the region overall. The teams do try to get and reach towards the center so that in the later stages they do not have to move. And luckily, if they can find some concrete cover that can stay in the final circles, that's an amazing advantage, because we know in the final circles how important it is that if you have the zone, if you do not have to move and leave your cover, that becomes an amazing advantage to play with. And that has been the meta that the players from this region have been using. We'll find out which of the teams, which IGLs are going to take the correct decision for this match in the scrim. And being in Erangel, it is going to be an exciting last circle finish, I'm sure about that.
Exactly. So, I mean, I have this one question, So
Yep,
what is
sure.
your theory of all these teams accumulating in the center of the zone? I have my theory. I know why they do that mostly, but I mean, I just want to hear your thoughts as well. Like, why do you think so teams do that, and why is it probably the best moment? Because sometimes going in the center of the circle is not really a good thing. Holding off the edges sometimes can also pan things out in your favor.
Definitely, these are 2 different completely styles of like playing in the game. So, firstly, coming to the point why the teams try to hold on to the center, it's just because in the later stages you might just have that concrete cover. You just might not have to move away in the open, and that gives you a better chance of not like giving the point away and securing more kills over the teams who are trying to move in late. But on the other hand, at the same time, coming in late is also a very amazing strategy, because the compound that you might be holding in the center might just not be inside the zone after a hard shift. So playing at the edge always has an advantage and gives you like options to play with. In the last minute, you might decide to move for a ridge or for a different cover outside, and you might use your vehicles or smokes as a cover. So there's a lot of things that you can do if you're playing on the edges. So for me as an IGL, I always want to play towards the edges because it's just a luck factor if you're holding onto the compound and hoping that it stays in the zone.
Exactly, but let me tell you your massive disadvantage if you're holding the edges. If the circle takes a hard shift away from you, then you have a massive route to take. You have a long way to go. And in the same way, you probably know that it's going to be filled with opponents. So if you're going to be trying to do that, sometimes there's a massive chance you might just get caught off guard. But for now, I'm going to hold on to my words because there's a massive fight happening. Zeus going head-to-head against the players of TUF. One knockdown has already been found. Thor kind of being impatient in this fight as well, peeking out, jiggling here and there. While Godless has his nades cooking up as well, kind of going to be trying to find its mark, but it seems like that nade has been lopped in for Succession. Not really finding its mark, though. That Molotov maybe can flush him out of his position for now, but Thor being pretty passive. Edgar still knocked out. Maybe I feel like instead of just being a man who's knocked out, he can try and get a little information for his teammate Thor, and maybe he can convey or deliver some crucial information from which Thor can start acting towards.
Definitely, that was something that Edgar should have done, but now he's been flanked, Thor has been flanked, and there he goes down. Joel gets the knock over him, so that is going to be the end for him over there. So Zeus Esports, just like any other game, we always look at them like prevailing over and like controlling everything around where they are holding up right now, and that is exactly what they are doing here against the team of TUF. And coming back to that discussion about holding the edges, there are always going to be disadvantages and challenges and hurdles in any strategy that an IGL picks up. It's just the point that are you ready enough, are you like strong enough with your teams, and are you like versatile enough with your team to understand those challenges and come against it. And that is why the important thing is there's not just one game that as a team you need to play. There are multiple games that you need to play and you can capitalize over. Meanwhile, coming back to the fight, that is the end. Once again, Zeus capitalizes TUF out of the game.
Exactly, Zeus taking TUF out the game, out the equation, out the map as well. And Zeus kind of being like, this is our place. He cannot take it over that easily. Knocking them out the game. A beautiful performance from these lads. Just a 3-man squad, wiped out a 4-man squad. Hats off to Zeus, without any doubt, one of the best teams in the Mongolian region. Taking their sweet little time to loot the corpses as well, which is pretty understandable. We're not looking good. We're kind of slim in the loot phases as well. Seal getting caught off guard in those rotations. Their vehicle is smoking. Maybe they need to find a cover instantly. If they're not, then maybe they will take him down. And finally, seems like they are going to be finding their home, which is going to be right next to his teammates. Of course, going to be pretty comfortable, because we do know sometimes when you are next to the people that you know, you feel kind of comfortable.
Sure you do. Meanwhile, Magnet, they're getting a knock there. So let's see how they are looking to capitalize over this season. I believe this is the team of High Voltage that has loaded up the area of school and apartments and trying to move towards the Prado Hill. But Futurestation is looking quite good over here. They are like spread beautifully. An Assassin might just go down there with that M44X, and he does, and Magnet gets one more knock. He's going to finish his opponent off, but there's a little bit of regrouping that Futurestation needs to do right now. Let's see how they are going to do that.
For now, pretty much a lot of ruckus being caused in the zone. High Voltage taking a lot of shots in those rotations. Oh no, the vehicle crash. Cloud in a heap of trouble. Needs to get out this situation as fast as possible. Entry seems to have no mercy onto him. He's just going to be peppering down a lot of bullets until he is taken down till the end. But finally, Entry lost his vision. He lost his sights onto him. I feel like at this point in time, there's no use if you're going to be taking such longer shots. It's just like you're wasting your mags. You're just unloading your mags at nothing.
Yep, but the good thing for 1952 here is they have not lost any teammates over here. All the 4 guys are standing. They have just 1 kill against the name. That is Assassin from High Voltage, and that is a 3-win squad now for High Voltage, and Extreme is going to lead them inside the zone. Let's see, as the second circle is closing over here, we had a slightly main island circle. Let's see where the third circle is going to head towards. Do we find a hard shift or not? We are going to find that pretty soon.
Exactly. TDK right next to the compound of Astra Academy. Does note there's one player right next to him, perfectly cooked. Nade might be so damaging. Just did quite a little damage though, not enough to take a player down. Utsarga does hear him right next to him, and this Molotov may be just catching him off guard. Utsarga moves out in time. Now, what TDK really needs to do over here is either push or maybe play it out safe. And this is exactly what I was saying. Holding off on this same position for too long and not repositioning yourself gets you too predictable. And this is where the enemies have an easier chance of taking you down. Now take a look at Top as well. He has his nade lopped in. All he needs to do is just make that perfectly placed, and it's just going to be lopped in. And yes, TDK Jane's position is too easily compromisable. He needs to reposition himself. Maybe try and find a new position.
Ooh, and look at that rate hit goes down to that info. Blah, blah, blah is holding up the ground for at this moment. But eventually, Raiden has been eliminated from the game. So T2K now reduced to a 3-man squad. But look at how beautifully the pressure is being applied by Astra Academy with those utilities that they have been using beautifully. One more knock coming in with that Scarl. Top eventually tries to capitalize. This is not looking the T2K that we know. And they are trying to come back, trying to hit Astra Academy back. But blah, blah, blah. He tried his best, but could not resist the push coming in from Pika here. Astra Academy wipes off T2K in this game.
Exactly. Astra Academy wipes them out the equation for now. Venom Legends pops up as well, instilling fear, raining down death and destruction on the players of Skylightz Gaming. Leon has been taken down as well. Wants to confirm the kill. It's pretty desperate, and this is where he gets third-partied as well. Greed is never a good thing, and this is a live example of that. Zeus punishing him out.
Yep. Definitely, greed is never a good thing. We'll see how Zeus tries to control this fight over here. I can see they are spread for now, but A1 Esports and Blood Legion have also managed to find themselves a fight. Right now, we have Skylightz Gaming and Venom Legends here who are using the ridges beautifully. A lot of smoke that Heaven has deployed around himself. He's trying to head towards that buggy, I believe. He's trying to get away from the situation, regroup from his teammate, and that might just be the perfect strategy at this point. And we can see him move towards this buggy now. But with Venom Legends very close in the nearby vicinity, it's not going to be an easy task for him to do that, but he has successfully retreated from that position for now.
Successfully retreating from a tricky spot. I mean, if you're going to be able to do that, that's a massive thing in itself, because if you're pinned down by enemy, it's pretty much they're not going to let you move out. This is where the utility usage comes in play as well. Those smoke grenades that can provide you that temporary visual distortion from enemy. And that can help you out quite a lot in those tricky situations for now. Exact example for now. Skylightz Gaming, their visual has been blocked out with that smoke wall, and all they can do is just back out with those vehicles. They don't really have any other choice. Maybe try and reposition yourself, and this is what Skylightz Gaming is doing, because Venom Legends is being real aggressive on their side, and while they were being aggressive, Skylightz wasn't really able to do much, because that's the only time Skylightz can try and catch them apart, but unfortunately they couldn't because of those smokes. Zeus kind of in an uncomfortable spot. Yes, he will be taken down. Godless, unfortunate position. Ably as well, getting caught off guard in those rotations. These buggies sometimes can be pretty troublesome.
Definitely, and I liked how he straight away scoped in at the window, bought some time for himself over the player who was shooting at him, but he could not resist and stop the other player from shooting him. So we have the fourth circle now here in front of us, ladies and gentlemen. It's just outside towards the western side of farm. There's a bit of a shore area as well. There's a tricky compound with Seal Esports is holding up at that place right now. Those are going to be the important compounds to hold up in the eventual circles that are coming up. But look at that cluster, Necro, coming in from the northwest side. A1 Esports part of it, Venom Legends part of it. We have seen Skylightz Gaming, they're lurking around the edges over there. What do you think? How important is that cluster going to open up pretty soon?
Well, I mean, as soon as the circle shrinks down to its lowest, those clusters, most of the times, these teams try to play it out as safe as possible till those late games, because they do know positioning is important. And when the late game hits and there's still like 7 or 8 teams alive, this is when the real hell breaks loose. All the teams just start fighting each other out for the victory, for the #1. And only in the end, you're supposed to know which team would be coming out on top. DRS, though, instilling dominance inside the game, inserting fear in the enemy lines as well. Nightwing seems like he's going to be pretty unstoppable in this position as is right now. Some suppressive fire on the side of Deadeyes, making sure that they're not coming right next to him.
Yep, and the last player from Deadeyes, I believe Suyog, he's just moving away from that situation. Not an area he can easily dominate, but look at that A1 Esports and Venom Legends towards the edges. This is what we were speaking of. But A1 Esports, they are looking to dominate over this entire northwestern edge right now. Steel Shot might just be the next one to go down, and from Sinister's M43X, that is exactly what happens. They have just come out of the compound, holding up the compound beautifully, not allowing any easy passage from this section of the zone, and that is going to help them a lot. That is going to give them a lot of breathing space as the zone moves ahead in the next circles. But what we have here, more God's Reborn also coming in from the northern side, and this is just towards the northern side where A1 Esports is holding up. And coming towards the southern section, Astra Academy finds himself in a peculiar situation, but he's done some significant damage over the players of Seal Esports over here, just 2 more enemies remaining. Let's see how he's going to capture this fight.
Exactly. Tough situations, desperate time, desperate measures. Well, seems like a little visual glitch here and there, though. The door was open. He did take it down instantly. While Scry is still taking a little bit of damage from his backlines as well. To realize his position has been compromised. Repositioning yourself is a massive key in Astra Academy. Do you have their presence of mind in the game as well? Scry does know 2 people are in the front lines, so for now, Scry has a little advantage over Seal. All he can do is just pin them down in that building and not let them breathe a little too much. But we already have Baron moving out sneakily. This man is like an assassin waiting for the right moment to strike.
Let's see if he can strike there or not. The nade is going in there. Sky is not going to get any damage, but Pika, his teammate, was bleeding out, who gets him picked off by the players of DRS. Mafia Ninja steals away that kill. Now Sky is the last guy remaining from Astra Academy, and under constant pressure from the 2 players of Seal Esports, who are still trying to dominate over the compound. Zaki also decides to move out, but the nades are coming out back in again from the players of Seal Esports. Baron trying to dominate over here. Sky trying to get away from the situation. This is going to be an important compound to hold up, we expected, but now, as we were talking earlier, this compound finds itself outside the zone. So anyone who comes up from this fight needs to move out, and move out pretty quickly.
Exactly. Need to be quick on their feet, and this is what PUBG is all about. Being quick on your feet, and sometimes that can reward you quite a lot. Astra Academy, though, I like the way he's playing this situation out. It's like he's teasing him all the time, throwing a little nades in, a little bit of shots in as well, and then just going and hiding somewhere and keeping Seal guessing of his position. And this is where Baron is kind of getting impatient as well. He wants to kill him instantly. Baron getting shot from the back lines. This is going to be an unfortunate moment, as I8's kind of helping him out as well. I8's joining the fray from the far distance, and this is where Astra Academy might be a little happy, because they have seen the kill feed going down as well, and he realizes that. Sky realizes this situation, wants to confirm the kill instantly without wasting any time, which is pretty brilliant.
True, and let's see, we'll keep an eye on the kill feed if he can get hold of the final player from Seal Esports over there. Meanwhile, players from Futurestation going down. Sharp has been eliminated from the game. We'll see how the rest of the players of Futurestation look to capitalize, but right now, it's High Voltage who is holding up the dead center of this 5th circle right now, which is also closing at the moment. The teams, they are trying to find themselves outside the zone, trying to get inside the zone as well. From the northwestern sides, A1 Esports becomes the only team to flourish, and they are looking to control the western edge of the circle. It's a big area that A1 Esports is controlling right now, but we'll find out pretty soon how much impact can they make in coming in from the west. One more team, Stalwart Esports, holding up onto the shacks. This is a brilliant ditch that they are controlling, but we still have players of the Astra Academy holding up inside the zone. Zaki is also remaining from CD Esports, so they're keeping an eye on that compound over the players who are going to come out from there. But we'll find out pretty soon who is going to come out from this compound. Is it going to be Astra Academy, or is it going to be Zaki?
Only the individual gameplay is going to be able to answer the kind of skills here. Scry, well, he's like wants to be as safe as possible, spotting one player out of Steel. Scry is kind of being so good in this fight. First, he went and peeked the window, so the player of Seal thought that maybe he's going to be peeking out from the window, decided to back off and instantly opened the door and went inside and took him down. These little mind games can help you out so much in such kind of crucial situations. Trinda does know there were some shots going down, so he's going to be scouting out the area, keeping that player locked in that compound. Astra Academy needs to be quick on their feet, needs to move out of the compound as fast as possible. But I8 are going to be the edge guardians, and they're not going to let that happen.
Sure, they're not going to let that happen. And the 6 circle is dead center over the compound that high voltage was holding up. It's a brilliant example of what we were talking earlier in the game, that if you can hold a compound and it remains in the center in the final circles, it's going to be a huge advantage. So we'll find out how high voltage are going to use this advantage to their favors right now. From the west, A1 Esports is trying to regroup as Dante is knocked down here. 6ix9ine using the smokes beautifully and trying to create some cover for Dante's revival. But on the southern side, we saw already the players of Stalwart Esports, they were also holding up. This is the compound. This is the single house for high voltage that they have as a cover. From the northern side, we can see the players of Futurestation trying to come in. God's Reborn has a duo playing with some smokes out there. Let's see what sort of impact they can do. They've got hold of Dante once again. Another knock coming in. And in the kill feed, we can see DRS also prevailing and getting some kills for themselves.
If you remember in the start of the game, as I did compare Zeus and High Voltage completely to opposite playstyles. And High Voltage proving my point right, playing it out as tactical as possible, aiming for the house first in the center of the circle, and now they are pretty much chilling because they have the best compound and the best cover they can ask for in such late game. A1 Esports, RX Jax knocked out. I8 as well, kind of showing their dominance inside the game. DRS in a massive heap of trouble. Well, for now, A1 Esports are pretty much on that dominated phase. They need to watch their back lines because there is I8 right there. So not watching your flank line might just put them in a massive trouble. There is one player watching their flank lines as well, but there's one more team on A1 Esports left lines. This is where High Voltage is kind of being the center of attraction.
Sure. They are going to be the center of attraction, definitely, because they have the concrete cover that you require in the final circle. And look at the amount of smokes being deployed by both DRS, A1 Esports, and also the player of Stalwart Esports over there. They are looking to survive, but knocks coming in from everywhere. Just 5 teams remaining now. 14 players still part of this action, and luckily Futurestation is still surviving from the northern side. They are also looking to give some impact over the circle. Let's see how successful they are going to be, and spam in the comment section who do you think is going to go away with the chicken dinner at this point. I can see entry towards the northern side, and what sort of impact, as this zone is very crucial, Necro. Is High Voltage going to enjoy that concrete cover or not? We are going to find out.
Exactly. I mean, for sure. That's not even the question, because that's the only team who has the compound on their name, right? They have one of the best compounds. All they can ask for now. It only depends if they are going to be able to hold it properly. If they're going to be giving some rookie mistakes out for no reason, if they're just going to be making those unwanted peaks, then maybe one player will be taken down, and this is where the enemy teams can find their right moment to push in. If they're not going to be doing those, if they're going to be playing it out patiently and waiting for the right moment to get or rack up those kills, then they will be looking pretty good. I8 Crypto took quite a lot of damage in that fight as well. A1 Esports is still not able to recover from that injury they have gotten themselves since a longer time, and they are still in a real uncomfortable spot. DRS, a lot of pressure being instilled on their side as well by Stalwart.
I'm really impressed with DRS, the way they have played. They've used the terrain so beautifully. They've played with the curve of the land so beautifully out here that they had to use the minimum amount of smokes to survive out there. On the other hand, A1 Esports did pick up a quite open space with a vehicle to survive. So they have used quite a lot of their utilities already to stand there where they are holding up right now. On the other hand, from the southern part, we can see Stalwart Esports trying to prevail, but getting caught out in the open. Crypto once again. Now it's time for the 2 players from Stalwart Esports. Strinder, he also goes down. So Burzum is the last guy remaining from the situation, and DRS is making sure it is punishing every team for the mistakes that they are doing out here.
Exactly. Pretty much a peaceful ending for now, as we are pretty close to that as well. DRS should maybe pull their horses out. Try and play a little safe sometimes. Being on that aggressive page, keeping your pedal on that aggressive metal is not really a good thing all the time. Sometimes you need to hold your horses down. That's just the way game works. Mafia Ninja seems like he sensed the fear near the edges here as well. So Mafia Ninja going to be taking a little bit of chill pill. As Mr. Boro out in the open, he might just get taken down easily by Uzi.
Let's see if he does or not. Meanwhile, high voltage coming out of that compound. They have been forced out of the compound against DRS. This is the last team remaining in front of them. All the 4 players of DRS still into the equation. The revive has been complete. Cloud is the only player with that HP. He's trying to create and buy some time with those smokes out there. But he's been shot at. The nade is making some serious impact, and the chicken might just go towards DRS any moment. And that is exactly what has happened here. High voltage had the compound, had the cover in the final circle, but the last shift of the zone made sure that they were out in the open, and DRS had been playing brilliantly. They've got an amazing 13 kill chicken dinner over here.
Well, to be honest, I really feel like High Voltage got quite unlucky in that situation. That's drastic circle shift. I'm pretty sure even I did not expect that, you know. I was like, even if it takes a drastic shift, maybe still the compound, at least a little part of the compound will still be inside the circle, but it wasn't. Unfortunate moment for High Voltage there. The tacticality this time didn't really work out, but did get them second place, which is pretty good. Placement points secured in their hands. Not a lot of kill points, only 4, but DRS on the other hand, absolute domination coming out from these last 13 kills all by themselves, and that's going to be pushing them quite a lot much more up in those overall leaderboards.
Definitely. And that is exactly what we were talking, Necro, right? The compound in the final circles. It's always a luck game. It's always something that can either go or go against you. And that is exactly what has happened with High Voltage here. They were forced outside the compound. They were not prepared enough to which side they would go. And DRS, they were playing the edges beautifully. And eventually they came out on top. But High Voltage, they would be really happy with the performance that they have done here. 4 kills out here. I'm really impressed how Astra Academy also played this game. They were also looking quite impressive. Stalwart Esports was also a team to watch out for. They were also playing a really nice game here. So overall, a very decent Erangel game that we witnessed over here.
Exactly. It was a pretty decent Erangel game. I mean, DRS did get the chicken dinner in their hands. The PMPL champions, without any doubt, I mean, proving their point again. But I mean, leaving all the things aside, it's nice to see you, Trooper. It has been a long time since we haven't encountered each other. So it's a good side to watch you. So I mean, hopefully things going on good for you as well, even in your family and stuff like that. But now talking about the game, High Voltage, things didn't really work out. Zeus as well. Unfortunate moments for them. There was just like a 3-man squad. Did get caught off guard in those rotations. And as me and Blotter were talking about, Zeus is a team that is not really taking these scrims serious. It's just like they're playing it as if it's just like a normal match lobby.
Yeah, and there was a skill that Godless showed us over here, right? That 4x exactly on the window. So that gives us an idea how good this team is. And they were dominating the fight outside Georgiopol City as well. So this is a team that knows exactly what to do at the top level as well. So you cannot expect them to come out and do their best on every single day. They know exactly what they got to focus and practice on. So we might just give it to them, and they are practicing what is needed to be done.
Exactly. Got to do what you got to do sometimes to get that victory in your hands. And maybe even if you're down to murder someone, especially Zeus, they try their best. You know, they try their best to murder the lobby. But I mean, again, fell short somewhere, and which is understandable. I mean, not all the times, you know, you can have the zone going in on your side. Venom Legends as well, this game kind of did show themselves, did got some spotlight on them, and did rack up 3 kills, but still not really enough to get yourself back up from those from the down-disted graves. And it's going to be taking quite a lot of times. And teams like 20 kills still not able to show up.
Sure, but definitely one of the plus points from the game that I would like to take away is both A1 Esports, Venom Legends, and including all the Bangladeshi teams, including 1952 Futurestation. They are also playing. They also got a pretty decent game in there. All of them were there in the top 6 or top 7. So that is a very good sign. And look at that way A1 Esports is in the overall ranking with 89 points in the 4th position. Deadeyes still there in the top. DRS leading from the front. So a lot of good teams over there in the top half, and that is really nice to see.
Exactly. Absolutely great to see. I mean, these are the overall ranking, of course. And unfortunately, teams like Skylightz Gaming, you know, these teams are still on the latter half of the table. I mean, there's one more half where we can see teams like Blood Legion going in as well. But 7C Esports, a team who has the PMPL experience, still on the latter half, which is understandable. You need to keep one thing in your mind. These are scrims, and it's pretty much a chill environment. The only thing these teams are playing for is going to be the experience that they can get and maybe the prize pool as well. And now this is what some teams don't really want to do. They don't want to give these new upcoming teams, the experience that they want. So maybe sometimes they just play it out pretty safe. They just don't want to show their real strategies out. They just want to play it out as chill, like a normal game. But we still have TRZ Pryde coming up here as well, and Blood Legion still kind of falling down short. APES as well over here. INES trying to kill. Trying to kill. What exactly happened in the semifinals? I mean, you guys were doing absolutely good in the previous days in the season 1, but in the season 2, somewhere down line, kind of struggling.
Yep, really surprising to see Train to Kill, INES, and Blood Legions, names like those in the final page. It's really something you do not expect from these brands, right? But we'll find out. We'll find out pretty soon what is going wrong with them. It's just a matter of time. Maybe the bad phase, as we call it, in the career. Maybe they are going to figure out what's going wrong and come back. But I'm really excited about how the Scrims, like whenever Zeus plays in the lobby, where despite of their position in the overall ranking, they always look a team. We always look at them as a team which are out of the league. So that is something I would like to take away from here as well. They were spectacular today as well with those 6 kills.
Exactly. Zeus is, of course, all the time pretty spectacular. Zeus is a team that just puts a smile on my face. But with that being said, guys, today's day, 3 matches, all done on Erangel. We saw some incredible performance. We saw some dominating performance. We saw some hope performances as well. And with that, it's going to be the end of the day for today. And maybe we'll be catching you guys later sometime. So sure. Until then, it's going to be a goodbye from me and Trooper. We'll catch you guys later.
Let's get it.